Slow down! Slow down! Oh, hurry up, Albert, and tell the driver he's going too fast.
Victoria, my darling, he can't be going more than 50 miles per hour. It's perfectly safe.
50 miles per hour? I gave the driver explicit instructions to go no more than 40. I am quite certain that any faster simply cannot be good for one's health. Oh! I wish there was a way that I could signal to the driver to tell him to slow down.
Victoria was actually so worried about this that she did get a signal installed so that she could tell the driver to slow down without leaving her seat.
You know, that's actually not a bad idea. Especially as you refuse to walk down the corridors whilst the train's moving.
I heard that, Albert. And anyway, who are you and what are you doing here?
Today, riding a train is a very ordinary event, a bit like being in the car or hopping on the bus. But imagine growing up without trains and then experiencing one for the first few times.
Albert! Albert! There's a very strangely dressed girl in our private royal saloon!
Oh dear, I'd better get out of here. Oh, wait, before I do, would you mind just telling everyone to like and subscribe, please?
Like and what?
Subscribe. Like and subscribe.
But I've never heard of such a thing. Fine. If I do, will you go and leave us alone?
Oh yeah, you'll never see me again.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes, thank you. Right, I'm off. Oh, thank you, Your Majesty.
I told you there was reason to be wary of trains.
The first passenger railway opened in 1825. That's nearly 200 years ago. And Queen Victoria was the first ever British monarch to travel by train. Imagine how exciting that must have been. Perhaps a little bit scary too. But the experience of riding a train in the Victorian times would have been very different to what we know today. Well, I want to know just what it was like to be a Victorian riding a train, so I've come here to Buckinghamshire Railway Centre to find out. I'm going to start my journey by meeting Sandy, one of the very knowledgeable volunteers here at the museum. So exciting because we're getting exclusive access inside the Royal Saloon. Follow me. Sandy, hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for meeting with me.
It's a pleasure.
So I am back inside the Royal Saloon, but there's no sign of Victoria and Albert this time.
No, they're not here. Just us.
Just us.
Yes.
Now, this is all very luxurious, isn't it? Very different to
Indeed.
what we know today.
Oh yes. Oh yes, yes. This is completely top drawer stuff, if you like. Not available to many. In fact, very, very few. You know, proper cutlery, proper crockery, proper linen tablecloths, proper napkins, and silver everywhere.
Would they have eaten on board?
Oh yes, absolutely. You probably passed the butler's pantry on the way in. That's where the food would be prepared and served at the table. No wobbling along the carriage carrying cups of coffee and hoping not to spill them. No, they were served at their tables by a waiter in full uniform.
I take it we are starting from the very top because the experience of riding a train in the Victorian times would have differed dramatically depending on what class in society you were from, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. The normal passengers sat on wooden seats, slatted wooden seats, no padding, pretty basic stuff.
Is there anywhere in the museum that you can take me to see this?
We just happen to have one. Why don't we go and have a look?
Oh yes, please, let's go. Come on. So railways were one of the few places where the different social classes met and mixed. But once on the train, the rich and poor were very carefully segregated. And there were 3 different carriages of class: first, second and third. Now at first, there was no third-class carriage at all. And that's because many railway companies believed that the wealthier travellers would be offended by the poorer classes. So when the third-class carriages were introduced, they were just very basic trucks that offered no protection from the wind. Right, Sandy, let's go see these trucks.
Well, here we are. I did promise you third class, and it doesn't get any more basic than this. And yes, everything, sadly, everything had to go by rail.
So there's a coffin in here right now.
Yes.
Would this have travelled at the same time as people in the third class travelling?
The passengers would have been in here
Okay.
at the same time.
At
And
the
you
same
can
time.
and you can see it really is very, very basic.
And how many people do you think they would have cramped inside each one?
If you had some children, there would probably be 8 people in there.
Wow. And how far would people have travelled in these carriages? Would they have travelled as far as the richer classes?
No, not really. I mean,
Okay.
these were fairly local. I mean, this one particularly, as you know, says, Oxford and Aylesbury.
Okay.
So from where we are, certainly no more than an hour each way.
So if you were travelling by third class and you wanted to get to the other end of the country by train, you probably couldn't have done so.
Well, you could, but you'd have to stop overnight, and that's where all the railway hotels sprang up right next to the stations.
Yeah.
So the Victorians were always up for making if there's money to be made, if there's a business to be run, they would do it.
Here, Sandy told me all about the groundbreaking idea that came from a man named Thomas Cook. He offered working class people what became known as a shilling-day trip to visit the popular attraction, the Great Exhibition in Crystal Palace. Tickets cost 4, 5 or 6 shillings, depending on class and comfort, and included a return train ticket and entry into the exhibition. In today's money, that's worth around just £12. So Sandy's just been telling me how the engine driver is preparing the train now by filling it up with water. Some 6 million people travelled to Crystal Palace from all over Britain, and the majority of them arrived by these shilling-day train trips. Overnight, Cook had essentially invented the day out. Now, sitting here, I really feel as though I've stepped back in time. It has a really lovely, nostalgic feel to it. I can just picture the excitement at heading out on one of these trains for the first time. That was just wonderful. It was really great to experience what a train ride would have been like through the eyes of someone who this would be completely new to. The freedom that these trains would have given people to get out and about and explore new places would have been enormous. But there is still one part of the train that I've yet to experience, and that is in the cab with the driver. Right, so I'm now in my final stop. I'm in the cab with the driver. Hello, Matt.
Hi there, you alright?
Yes, thank you so much. So, can you tell me what your role is?
Well, my role is the fireman. The fireman is predominantly the stoker of the fire, keeps the boiler pressure up so there's enough power for the train to actually move.
And could you talk me through some of these controls? It looks very complex to me.
Yeah, it's actually quite simple. There's only a few that really are important. First of all, this one's the brake. It's a vacuum brake. It's created through the coach, and it allows us to stop the train in a moving fashion. This one's the steam brake. It's part of the train, so it has its own braking system for when we're not connected up to coaches. This one's the regulator, so that's the one that you see us won't move when we want to go. This is the gear reverser, so forward, forward, back, back, and a little neutral, a bit like a car. These ones here are for putting in water into the boiler. This one here is the whistle, so that's the chain. All locos have that.
But this would have been hard work back in the Victorian times.
They would have had long, hard hours, and yeah, it was just a normal part of their day to be coming and working on these. And then when they changed to diesels, they wanted to keep the pride up with it, but obviously they needed to scrap them. So this is why now in the preservation movement that we keep that going and keep it alive and across loads of heritage railway sites across Britain.
Amazing. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
Can I stay in here for a train ride?
of course you can.
Yes.
Of course you can.
Thank you so much. How hot it is in here. It's a really hot day already, so it's really impressive that the driver could stay in here all day. This is so much fun. It really does feel as though I've stepped back in time and taken the place of the driver. When you're all tucked up in a nice safe carriage, is actually just how big and how tall trains are. Standing up here in the cab, I'm clinging on really tightly to this cloth right here because the bars are really hot and it's actually really high up. Today learning how to ride a train the Victorian way, from royalty to the driver. Thank you so much to everyone involved in this episode, to Zoom Through History, and everyone here at Bucks Rail Centre. Right, now I'm off to go get an ice cream. I wonder what happened to Victoria and Albert. See you next time. Oh, one more thing. Could you mention that you can help support our videos by heading over to Patreon?
Well, now you're just pushing your luck.